Welcome into 5 Wide. Today we're breaking down the NFL playoffs, starting with the wild card round and filling out the bracket here, making our Super Bowl predictions. End of the regular season. Very, very excited for the playoffs. Some great matchups here. A lot to get into. What we'll be doing is getting into each of these games for wild card weekend, breaking down some of these teams, my thoughts on them, and then we'll go through beyond that and look at the matchups following. Let's not waste any time. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. If you are new, subscribe to the channel. We'll have plenty more content coming, previewing the postseason and throughout the rest of the playoffs. I'll have coming out later this week. One reason why each and every one of these playoff teams won't win Super Bowl 58, so stay tuned for that. But let's jump into the bracket here, and we'll go in chronological order from the order of these games that are being played this week. So we'll start on Saturday, Browns-Texans. Texans, that classic Saturday wildcard team. I'm excited for this game. I do think it's a very intriguing matchup. When you look at, of course, the Texans trading away Deshaun Watson to the Browns will be going with Joe Flacco in this game. CJ Stroud has had a great rookie season, going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. This isn't your normal rookie quarterback. CJ Stroud has had a terrific season. He's a guy that will not make those rookie mistakes I would anticipate in a game like this. We saw it in the game on Saturday night against the Colts as well, with a roster that was missing some key pieces. And the question will be, are they going to miss guys like Noah Brown and Robert Woods in this particular game as well? They would really like to get Noah Brown back. I think would be a huge boost to them offensively. But this is a Browns team that likes to play a lot of man coverage, and that has actually been a great thing for this Texans team because Nico Collins has been one of the best receivers in the entire league this season against man coverage. 4.27 yards per route run, which is third in the league. But one thing that does stick out to me, which makes this a strength-on-strength matchup, I think, Cleveland's defense, great job taking away downfield passing opportunities. They allow the lowest completion percentage on passes of 20-plus air yards, and Stroud has been completing over 50% of those passes. The only guy that's been better than him has been Brock Purdy, so really love the matchup here of the defense for the Browns and the offense for the Texans. Now, one thing that I also am trying to make a decision on who I think is going to win this game. Flacco has made the Browns offense, I think, a little bit more explosive than Deshaun Watson did, but the turnovers is still a problem. And when we get to this time of the year, those turnovers, when you're playing the best teams in the league, can really cost you. Flacco's played 5 games this year, 8 interceptions. He's 29th in turnover-worthy play rate amongst all quarterbacks this season. So I think that's a problem that could rear its ugly head, especially when you look at CJ Stroud, guy who does a great job taking care of the football and has done it all year. Just 5 interceptions in 15 starts this year. Texans can also stop the run, despite what you saw against Indianapolis on Saturday night. Over the course of the year, they've been one of the best run defenses in the league. So this is a Texans team that I think is well equipped being at home in this game. I'm going to take them to win this one because I do like how they match up with the Browns, despite the fact they're actually a home underdog in this game as well. Saturday night, Dolphins at the Chiefs. This is a game where the Dolphins, of course, could have been the 2 seed, could have been hosting a home playoff game, and now find themselves on the road in Kansas City and a quarterback in Patrick Mahomes that is still yet to play a road playoff game. So Miami's injuries to me are the thing that really stick out and are really troublesome. Like I like Kansas City in this game. I'm going to have them moving on, and it's really a lot to do with these injuries. Lose Bradley Chubb, lose Jalen Phillips. Andrew Van Ginkel got hurt last night as well, and Cameron Good got hurt last night, replacing Van Ginkel. So they're down 4 edge rushers. And when I'm looking at the postseason and I'm looking at teams to win the Super Bowl, you've got to have a pass rush. And quite frankly, the Dolphins will not have it if they do not have any of these guys. We know they won't have Chubb or Phillips, and I don't think they'll have Van Ginkel either, who's actually had a really good year as well. They also have been missing Jalen Waddle, been missing Raheem Mostert on offense for the back-to-back weeks, haven't had Xavier Howard as well for the last couple of weeks. The injuries are mounting here. The pass rush isn't there, and the one thing the Chiefs have kind of struggled with is giving up some pressure to Mahomes in this offense, but that might not be a big problem in this game. Then you look at what the Chiefs can do defensively. Been a pretty solid unit. The run game might be a problem here for Kansas City, but you look at L'Jarius Sneed, the seasons he's had in shadow coverage against some of the top receivers in the league, has done a terrific job. Can he do that against Tyreek Hill in this game? We shall see. Teams did play obviously earlier in the season in a relatively low-scoring game. I'm giving the edge here to the Chiefs being at home in this game, and also just with how badly things have been going for Miami lately. I don't like to take, the past and predict the future with it, but in this particular spot with the injuries, I'm going to go Kansas City here in this one. Next up, staying in the AFC, we're just going to stick with all 3 of our games in the AFC here. Those are the first 3 games. Again, this is our Sunday early afternoon. Steelers and the Bills. Look, no TJ Watt for Pittsburgh, and if you can believe it, I'm sure you probably can. The Steelers are 1-10 without TJ Watt since he's entered the league. They just don't win football games when they don't have TJ Watt. We saw it in parts of last season as well. This is still a defense that can force some turnovers. Even without Watt, I think they can do that, and that's a problem when that's a good thing when you're playing this Bills team. Third most interceptions, the Steelers, and the third most forced fumbles. Now, Watt plays a big role in some of those categories as well. Problem is for the Steelers, they can't take away the deep part of the field. 44.4% completion percentage allowed on deep passes, 20 passes 20-plus air yards, 28th in the league. Allen, 5th most deep ball pass attempts this season, so that's bread and butter for this offense. Steelers can't do a great job taking it away. And I would give the Steelers a lot of credit for what they've done as of late with Mason Rudolph at quarterback and who they'll be sticking with in the postseason, but the offense hasn't really changed. You look at Rudolph, average depth of target, 7.2 yards. Kenny Pickett was actually a little bit better this season. He ranked 41st. Rudolph ranks 43rd in average depth of target amongst quarterbacks. So I don't think that the Steelers are much different than with Rudolph than they are with Pickett. They've just played some teams in the Bengals and the Seahawks the last couple of weeks, and then the Ravens with obviously the second stringers that have just been pretty bad tackling teams, and also Bengals and Seahawks, pretty bad run defenses. You're not getting that here with this Bills team. The Bills have been playing great defensively. They're 10-point favorites here for good reason at home. Love the Bills in this game. I don't see any way that they don't win this game, despite the fact that we'll get into it. I kind of see them as a fraudulent contender, but regardless, we'll talk about that in the rest of the games. The Cowboys, 8-0 at home. They have not lost a game at home this year, covering the spread, not just winning margin, covering the spread by 12.9 points per game. They're scoring 37.4 points per game at home compared to just 23 on the road, 16 points allowed per game at home compared to 21 on the road. This team is so good at home, and I don't think it's any different here. I like the Cowboys to win this game. I like the Cowboys potentially if you're going to bet on them. Dallas leads the league in pressure or in man coverage rate as well. Loves numbers against man. I was looking at these receivers. Not good. 52.8% completion percentage, 5.9 yards per attempt. Cowboys will bring plenty of pressure, 41% pressure rate on the season. This is what they do defensively. Good news is for the Packers, their troubles defending the run aren't going to be as much of an issue against Dallas, who just can't run the football. But then I look at it, and quite frankly, the Packers' pass defense hasn't been great either. They're 25th in EPA against the pass. I think this is all Cowboys here. I really don't believe in the Packers in what they've had a terrific year and definitely outperformed expectations, but this is just one of the better teams in the league, and I don't think it's going to be any different in this spot. Rams-Lions, very, very excited for this game as well. Sunday night, 2 top 5 red zone offenses, 2 teams that can put points on the board. What I've consistently said about this Lions team all season is they can lose to anybody because their pass defense is absolutely terrible. They've given up 400 passing yards to Nick Mullins in 2 of the last 3 weeks. Detroit as well. Red zone has been a problem. The 4th worst red zone touchdown rate allowed this season. Kyren Williams, though, can they take away the run game? They've been a good run defense all season. Kyren Williams has been one of the most efficient backs in the entire league, and he's the guy they want to go to score touchdowns when they get in the red zone. So if the Lions can buck up when it comes to stopping the run, especially in the red zone, they can give themselves a chance. But Sean McVay against Dan Campbell, yeah, I'm taking Sean McVay. I know this game is on the road. The Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, playing their former teams is an awesome narrative to discuss. But does Detroit have Sam Laporta? Will they have Jameson Williams? Dan Campbell was dumb enough to play these guys in the last game of the season when they really shouldn't have been starting many of their starters and paid the price with Laporta's injury. It's not as serious as they thought, so there could be a chance he plays, but this offense becomes far less dynamic when you lose Laporta, when you lose Williams. And the Rams defense for me is very hard to get a read on. I don't know if they do one particular thing really well, but they do everything pretty good. I guess I would say good. In terms of ranks defensively against run, pass rush, pretty middle of the road in all their categories, but there's not that glaring weakness that the Lions have. So I do think the Rams are in a pretty good spot here to potentially pull off the upset here on the road and be the team here that I think comes out and makes it on to the next round. Eagles-Bucks. Why are we playing this game on Monday night? This game stinks. These 2 teams have given me a little confidence when it comes to making any noise in the postseason. The Bucks were on a good run for a few weeks leading up to their last 2 weeks of the season, but have been pretty underwhelming offensively as of late. Then you look at this Eagles team that's just absolutely fallen off the rails. What type of shape are A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith going to be in? Can they play in this game? If they do, what percentage of health are we going to see them at? Baker Mayfield looking banged up and playing like it. Tampa, I don't know. I kind of like the Bucks in this game at home. Tampa's going to kind of stack the box, take away the run, and bring some pressure because they like the blitz, 40% blitz rate. Hurts has been pretty mediocre against the blitz, 63.8% completion percentage, 12th, 7.3 yards per attempt, 18th. Does lead the league in interceptions against the blitz. That's 7 interceptions on the year against the blitz, 24th in passer rating. So I don't know. If Hurts is missing AJ Brown or missing Devontae Smith, I feel a lot worse about this because these numbers could be a fair bit worse in this game against the blitz if he doesn't have one of those kind of guys that are a real crutch for him. And then you're going to see a lot of man coverage from the Eagles. With Matt Patricia taking over, their pass rush has been pretty underwhelming, 25th in the league in sack rate this season. Mike Evans could be a problem when it comes to that man coverage as well. The coverage breakdowns from the Eagles are just deplorable against that Giants team. Bucs offensive line been pretty decent, 12th in sack rate allowed, 11th in pressure rate allowed. So look, I think the matchup kind of favors the Bucs, believe it or not. It's crazy to say that about this Eagles team, the way they've fallen off the rails, but they're just not giving me anything to believe in at this point in the year. Poorly coached, just not, operating at a high level on anywhere on the field. And I think the Bucs are a bit of a tough matchup for them. So I do like the Bucs moving on here in this particular game. So what does that leave us with now? Well, that puts us with the Bills and the Chiefs, and then we're going to have the Texans and the Ravens. So let's start with Texans-Ravens. Ravens defense, super, super good. When it comes to the matchups, both being able to run the ball, being able to throw the ball. We saw these teams play in game 1 of the year. Obviously, Stroud, that was the first game of his career in the NFL, and the offense really, really struggled. This is just a spot for me where I do have some major trouble with expecting the Texans to continue to keep things going in this particular game against another stout defense. This one doesn't give them the schematic advantage that I usually like to have, or that I've liked from what the Texans can do offensively. I do like the Ravens in this game because, again, the Texans' run defense has looked good as of late, but we've seen against some of these tougher opponents that be a bit of a struggle here. So I like the Ravens moving on to the AFC Championship game. Bills-Chiefs. I think the Bills are a team that when you're getting into some of these most important times of the game, these turnovers are a major problem. You're seeing the Bills hand the ball off to Leonard Fournette in the tail end of these games the last couple of weeks because they can't trust James Cook to hang on to the football. You're seeing Josh Allen make some really questionable decisions when it comes to throwing the ball in the red zone, when it comes to unnecessarily pushing the ball downfield. And look, don't get me wrong, the Chiefs offense has had its troubles when it comes to the drops being an issue. Their defense, I think, is just as good as the Bills, if not better, honestly. And then I can trust Patrick Mahomes when it comes to taking care of the football. And I think those mistakes from Allen throughout the season are something that aren't going to go away in the playoffs. And we haven't seen it go away in the playoffs in previous years. As much as the Chiefs have underwhelmed, I do like the Chiefs in this game as well, getting this. They will have this game on the road, which is a huge test when it comes to Mahomes never playing a road playoff game. But I just don't see these issues that have been around all season changing in this one. So I like the Chiefs to move on there in the AFC. Now in the NFC, we're going to have the Rams and the Niners, and we will have the Cowboys and the Bucks. I think much like last season start Cowboys Bucks, much like last season, I do think that this is a spot where I don't like the matchup when it comes to the Bucks. Last season, I loved the Cowboys in the matchup on the road. Cowboys stay at home in this game, then continue to put up points. Got a Bucks team that's going to go on the road where they've definitely seen some struggles as well. Saw them put up just 9 points last week against Carolina on the road. When it comes to the pressure that the Cowboys are able to generate, and especially when it comes to the Bucks pass defense, their run defense is really good, but the pass defense has not been anywhere near as good. And you look at a Cowboys offensive line that can really block well, and despite the high blitz rates from the Bucks, the Cowboys and Dak Prescott have been pretty good against it so far this year. So I think when it comes to the Bucks matchup defensively, don't really love it. So I like the Cowboys to move on there. And then in the Rams 49ers, we've got a Sean McVay coach team, and we've got a Kyle Shanahan coach team. And the Niners have had a real edge when it comes to matching up against Sean McVay, have matched up quite well against them throughout his career, Kyle Shanahan has. I think the Rams, again, are a team that there isn't something in particular that I think that they defensively do really well that sticks out to me. So I don't see something that they can severely take away from this 49ers offensive game. And when you look at the 49ers defensively, this is a team that likes to play a lot of zone coverage. The Rams had success, if you remember earlier in the season, first half of the game against the Niners were in a lot of zone, and the Rams kind of picked them apart. And then they made those second half adjustments and were able to kind of find some answers here for this Rams offense. I think they can do that here because you look at what they've been able to do against the run this season, been a terrific unit. The pass is definitely where there are a little bit more struggles, but I do lean towards the 49ers in this game when you look at what they've done over the course of history against the Sean McVay coach team. So I got the 49ers getting to the NFC Championship game, matching up with the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously saw the 49ers win this matchup earlier in the season. This is going to be a game again in San Francisco where we talked about the Cowboys' struggles, but I kind of feel pretty good about the Cowboys in this game matching up against them because, again, the pass game is what they live and die by. They're not running the football effectively. They're not running the football too much anymore this season as a result of their struggles with the run. And quite frankly, the Niners have pass rush still not a top 10 unit when it comes to sack rate and pressure rate, which is surprising to see. I like what the Cowboys can do in the passing game offensively. Question will be in the defense, how they make adjustments. That they're pretty heavy man coverage team. Brock Purdy has definitely, kind of killed teams with the deep ball, and the Cowboys play a very aggressive style when it comes to their defense and are susceptible to giving up some big plays, which Purdy has been great in those downfield passes, leads the league in completion percentage, over 60% completion percentage on passes of 20-plus air yards. I do think the Cowboys, though, defensively will definitely learn a lot from that game, and again, I'm trusting Brock Purdy to get this team to a Super Bowl. They're the favorites to win it, but I think if I'm looking at any type of real upset here, I like the Cowboys to give the best chance to be able to do so. So I'm going to go with them to make it to the Super Bowl. And then AFC Championship game, we're getting the Chiefs and the Ravens. And to me, there's one thing with the Ravens that I, going into the season, really had question marks about, and they've surely answered. It's their pass rush. They went with, some younger options. They let some guys walk in free agency. Guys like Odafe Oweh, Justin Madubuike have definitely stepped up this season, and the pass rush has been one of the better units in the league, believe it or not. And to me, that is the one thing. The Chiefs made some slight changes with their offensive line from last season into this season, and they haven't been quite the same unit. I think the Ravens are a team that can definitely make them pay in that department. I like their pass rush to be able to disrupt Mahomes and this offense. This is obviously a terrific defense across the board in the secondary as well, and being able to take away their run. The Chiefs are a team that I do think you're going to see from the Ravens between Lamar Jackson and between Gus Edwards and Justice Hill, where I think you'll see the Ravens be able to be pretty effective in the run game. That's been a bit of an Achilles heel for the for the Chiefs this season, is their run defense. And then you have a passing offense with Lamar Jackson that can effectively, has been able with Todd Monken to be able to make plays all over the field. And they don't have that number one option that, L'Jarius Sneed keys in on to take away. I think the Ravens get to the Super Bowl here. I like how they match up with the Chiefs. So I've got the Ravens and I've got the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. And pausing, because again, I went through these first round matchups and didn't really know exactly where I'd go with all of these. I look at the Cowboys-Ravens matchup and I see two teams that can definitely do a lot to disrupt the opposing quarterbacks, but I just see the one thing that keeps me from wanting to go Cowboys to win this thing is the run game. It's been a problem all year. It's been something that I haven't seen them been able to cure with Tony Pollard. I think, crazy enough, the Ezekiel Elliott departure has actually hurt this team because Tony Pollard proving he's not capable of being a number one option. I think the Ravens are a team that just across the board are very, very complete. The thing that was missing for the Ravens for a number of years has been the wide receiver department, and they've kind of found those answers and have a number of guys they can go to. They potentially get Mark Andrews back by this time of the year. That would be a huge boost to them offensively as well. I like the Ravens here. I think this is one of the most complete teams in the league. Proved it in a matchup with the 49ers a few weeks ago. I think they prove it again as a team that just reigns supreme over the rest of the league. So I'm going to be taking the Ravens to win the Super Bowl over the Cowboys here in February. All right, that is the complete bracket for the NFL playoffs. Guys, would love to hear your predictions down below in the comments section, so let me know about those and who you have winning the Super Bowl. If you guys enjoyed today's video, hit that like button. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.